husband David and his brother Mike have been on boats since they were babies, allowed to take the sailboat out alone as soon as they could get it in and out of the water by themselves. One Saturday, when Dave was 14 and Michael was 12, they competed in the Lake Geneva Saturday sailing races. Now, this isn't like whipping your paddle boat around Crystal Lake, okay? Lake Geneva is a big lake. It is 7 feet. It is 7 miles from end to end. And on this day, they take out their X-boat. You can picture a 16-foot-long bathtub with a pointy end and a sail. It's a gorgeous day, a beautiful day on Lake Geneva. And then, suddenly, slate gray clouds roll over Conference Point. The wind picks up. The yellow caution light flashes on the committee boat, and a voice bellows over the loudspeaker, "Seek shelter, go to near shore immediately." Now, Dave and Mike are 100 yards, if that, from Williams Bay. They could have been on shore in mere minutes. But this is the best wind we've had all day. So they keep going. They fly across the lake. The wind builds, they shoot across the water, and Dave and Mike, they know what they're doing. They keep letting out the sails because they're catching too much wind. They are experienced sailors. They've never gone this fast on a sailboat, though. In a motorboat, sure, but not sailing. That 16-foot bathtub is screaming across Lake Geneva, and then bam! The boat flips over, and both boys crash into the water. David pops up to find that 16-foot bathtub overturned. The waves are 4 feet high. David gets a good grip, but each time he heaves the boat upright, it just rolls over again. And what he didn't know is that when they capsized, Michael's legs caught in the rigging. So each time Dave rolls the boat, Mike rolls under with it over and over again. Finally, Michael frees himself and clings to the boat's bow. And when Dave sees Michael's panic-stricken face, he realizes the overturned boat could wait and tries to calm down his brother. They bob in the chaos, only 3 feet from each other, but the wind is a freight train. David yells, "It's gonna be okay!" But Michael couldn't hear him at all. Mike's eyes grow wider and wider and wider. If Dave had turned around, he would have seen why Mike's eyes were so wide. Because Michael saw the tornado and the water spout as it touched down on the lake just behind them. In our passage for today, the word used for gale, for windstorm, in Greek, it means swirling winds. The disciples' fears are justified. They're caught in the chaos of a tornado and a waterspout at sea. It's no wonder they're afraid. What chaos caught you unawares this week? What swirling winds threaten to sweep the little boat of your life away? Does it feel like God has napped through it all? That's what we're exploring today. So as we prepare for the word preached, would you join with me, your hearts and minds, in prayer? Oh God, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of each of our hearts be found acceptable in your sight, for you are our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. We modern audiences ride pretty hard on the disciples. We hear the text say over and over again, the disciples were troubled and wondered, what could it mean? And we roll our eyes. Block-headed disciples, not too swift, are they? It would be easy to lump this exchange between the 12 and Jesus in with those instances. It would be easy to read this text in that same spirit, assuming the disciples a bunch of whiners when it rains who wake up Jesus all in a twit and beg, "Don't you care that we're perishing?" It would be easy to take this as melodrama, except that before becoming followers of Jesus, the disciples were mostly what? Fishermen. Yes, Ruth gets a gold star this morning. As she pointed out, the disciples were mostly fishermen. These aren't a bunch of landlubbers out for a day sail with JC. These are guys who make their bread and butter on boats. They know boats. They know storms. They know what they need to do in a boat in a storm. They're not whiners. So when they wake up Jesus asking, "Do you not care that we are perishing?" it is because they know they are going to die. They're doing everything they know how to do. They're heading straight up into the wind, have thrown out their sea anchor, set their storm sail, and as soon as they realize they are taking on water, they are bailing and bailing fast. But the storm is too big. The waves are too strong. Caught in chaos they cannot control, the disciples are terrified. Sound familiar? Think back to the last storm the little boat of your life weathered, or the one you're caught up in now. We see slate gray clouds roll into our lives. The winds of uncertainty pick up. Maybe a caution flag goes up, and we're advised to head into shore. Think back. Sometimes you made it before the tornado touched down on the water. Thank God. But other times in life, we end up just like the Moser boys, overturned in 4-foot chop, trying to stay afloat in miles and miles of chaos. Like Dave, maybe, trying your hardest to get your life turned right side up and afloat again. Or like Michael, caught in a mess you can't get out of, one that keeps dragging you under until all you can do is cling to the bow with wide eyes while you watch as it gets worse than you thought it ever could. Now, this story appears early on in Mark's gospel. The disciples and Jesus are still new to each other, but they've already seen enough to know what Jesus can do. He's healed the sick. He's cast out demons. This guy is powerful, powerful. And yet, here's this powerful guy sleeping through the worst storm these weather-worn fishermen have ever seen. Can you just imagine what they are thinking while hustling to keep their ship afloat? You're asleep? Really? We've traipsed all over creation with you, while you've healed every stranger you can get your hands on, cast out every random demon-possessed person you come across. Perfect strangers, Jesus. These people were perfect strangers to you. We're closer to you than your own family. They wanted to lock you up in the loony bin, but we've stuck with you. Don't you care, Jesus? Don't you care that we're about to die? Well, we aren't strangers to Jesus either. We are God's people. We know Jesus, and he knows us. And storms come even still. The little boats of our lives